calm down, cause he just wanna learn something, so I teach him something. I am the one that teach. Call me 10 wins and 20.
Hey everybody, Joshua here from Authentic Intent. I have Karen B with me today. Thanks, Karen, for coming on tonight. This was something that I knew was going to have to happen. I didn't know how it was going to kind of all come out and have to, present it to everybody in the, community or YouTube and everything. But it's been suggested over the last couple of months that I start to address some of the things about myself that has been on a lot of people's minds, and they don't know how to kind of see me now. And I appreciate Karen for coming in and offering her opinions and being kind of a mediator and helping me kind of get out what I feel I need to. And here we are.
Right. So how do you want to start? Do you want to describe the situation that it is you're trying to address first, just so that everybody knows what it is? I'm not sure if everybody's aware. Or do you want me to do that? I don't know, however you want to do.
Yeah. I have this all started before I became an activist for Flat Earth. I was in the process of digesting the whole idea of Flat Earth while this situation in April of 2016 happened. And so this has been kind of a process. We can probably wait for a couple of people, a couple more people to show up. I have some people that would like to show up and come on also, like in the chat, or else at least hear a little bit. But there is a list of questions that I sent to you, and maybe we can address those questions as time goes on and whatnot. But I guess the reason why I am here posting this video is to kind of make it clear that I have a felony, and that felony is in regards to a sexual offense that happened in 2016 of April. And it progressed through that of me getting arrested and having to go to court and having all of this, along with investigation of the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation and Flat Earth, and this kind of all coming up all at once. And I want to, address this, clear the air. And if anybody has any questions as we continue to move on, go for it. So that is really what this is about. I want to make sure that all of the rumors that have been going on about, what's been going on with me is cleared up, and that the truth can come out, and then it will squash all of these rumors. So, Jacob Vigil, IPS, who is one of the main contributors to spreading these rumors, asks about my probation officer. Yeah, she is aware. She is aware that I went to Denver. I have been 100% transparent about everything that I have done, about what I post on YouTube. My probation officer has my YouTube channel. So does my therapist that I talk to every other Tuesday. And they have given me a clean bill of health, so much so that in the last quarterly visit that we had on Tuesday, I have been moved to an expedited type of treatment where my treatment will be over in the next 6 months instead of another year. So they have seen progress with me, and I understand. I've taken responsibility for everything that's going on. And yeah, so she does. So just a heads up.
Right. And this is in reference to a female that you entered into a relationship under false pretenses, where she lied to you about her age. You met her You met her on a, what did you say? You met her on a dating site? That
Yeah.
you had to be 18 to be part of, and she lied about her age, and that's how that situation started, correct?
Correct. Yeah. Yep. And as that relationship continued for those next 6 months up until the first week of May, I was under 100%. I I thought, hey, thanks a lot. I was under 100% idea that she was 19 years old, going to college in Wisconsin. She had two profiles that stated this, and I took screenshots of these profiles, which were submitted during the trial, obviously, and it was revealed that, you know, she was obviously not being who she said she was online.
Okay, so do you want to go through the questions here? Start going through the questions?
Yeah, we can go through
Are
some
you
of the
ready for
questions,
that?
or we can go through all of them. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we've already discussed how you met her. So the second question here says, what about her appearance? How did she look? Did she look like an adult?
Yeah, she dressed like an adult. She looked like an adult. She was 19. You know, she said that she was 19. So I didn't expect her to act in the manner of, you know, a 30-year-old, but that wasn't anything that I held against her. And, you know, we can continue from there.
Okay. Now I know that I've seen girls that were younger even than the age of this particular girl who did look like they were they look for all, you know, they look like they were 18, 19 years old and actually pursued relationships with older men, lying to them about their age. I've witnessed people do this myself. So I know that this is, you know, unfortunately something that does go on.
Mhm.
So what about her demeanor? She act like an adult, or was she mature or immature? Did she communicate well? That sort of thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she communicated well. I understood why we were, you know, trying to hang out and why we were trying to get together. We had commonalities and we liked some of the same music, and we
Josh,
had good conversations through the internet.
Josh, you have someone with a wrench on your channel that you should probably try to remove.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Yeah, I saw that. So if everybody in the chat who has negative things to say about me, at least hold off until I give you my side of the story instead of the jump to conclusions, Matt, that you seem to have laid out on the floor. A lot of your questions, a lot of your concerns will be answered, and there's a huge twist in this story at the end. And I just encourage you just to be patient and act like an adult. Yeah, so it never crossed my mind to question her maturity based on her age or what it was that we were hanging out for. You hang out with the person that you like to hang out with because they like to hang out with you. And, you know, this was the first time that I had ever pursued a relationship with a black girl before. And I had never pursued a relationship other than only white girls before. So this was a whole new experience for me. I didn't think dating somebody outside my color of skin was anything that would have brought attention to me, or I didn't care about people looking at me dating a black girl or anything like that. We just had some common things that we like to talk about online, and we decided to meet. I don't think from that point, it just never crossed my mind.
So
I just
you never suspected that she was underage after meeting her?
never crossed my mind. It wasn't anything that I was pursuing. I wasn't actively pursuing. No, it never crossed my mind.
So you never attempted to look further into her finding out if she was telling the truth about her age?
I never thought to pursue any line of thinking. Nobody came up to me and said, "Hey, are yeah, so you're dating a girl? Do you know how old she is? Did you check her age?" She was going to college, and the only thing that somebody that I could look at now, and if somebody would have questioned me or brought it up, I would have stopped and thought about it, that she was having to call her mom and have her or act like her mom to get out of the classes that she was supposed to go and attend. So that's, at the earliest time that we started hanging out, that was probably the only thing. That the times that we would hang out were times that she would have to call in for school.
Okay. When did you become suspicious of her lying?
Never. I never thought she was lying. I honestly never thought it. It never crossed my mind.
And I see someone in the chat asking, when was this? This was in 2016, right? Correct? Is that when that happened?
Yeah. So this event with this happened in April to May of 2016, and then I was arrested December 1st of 2016, and then I went to trial for this May of 2017.
Okay, so the whole time that it was going on, you didn't know that she was lying, and you didn't suspect anything?
No, okay. It
Okay.
never.
And you never met her parents or anything like that, obviously, right?
No, I briefly met some of her siblings, but it wasn't anything that would help me discern the type of person she is, her character, or anything like that. Here's a link to the summary of the court. So I do find it kind of interesting that people spam this summary of the court, and they try to like throw me under the bus and make it seem like if anybody finds out about my court case or my charge, that I need to be a recluse and just go hide in the corner and never go out to public because I should have so much shame. But
Right.
That's not the case. And I have never hid or ran away from anybody who's trying to address this with me or contact me. If some of these people who have been spamming this link to try to like expose me or something like that, they've never once contacted me to talk to me on a personal level.
Right.
They have never asked me anything or tried to convey their opinion other than calling me names. And if these people like IPS were so diligent in their investigation, how come this wasn't brought up 2 years ago when I first started to do activism for Flat Earth? If you're so smart, how come you didn't do a background check 2 years ago? Why did it take somebody else or something else for this all to come out now?
Yeah. Did you ever think about doing a background check on this person?
I don't mean to sound. I know. No, I didn't. It never crossed my mind.
Usually you don't. I mean, that's not something I typically think of when I meet a person or I talk to them. I just ask them. I just ask them about themselves. I don't feel the need to go behind their back and conduct an investigation. That's just not something I would ever think of doing either. Honestly, I don't think about that stuff either.
I hope that by the end of this stream, you will check out somebody's ID. You will do a background check on them. Whether that's for the best or not, especially nowadays, that's up to you if you choose to do that. But it seems like I have become an example that, whether it be for the positive or the negative, people look at my line of work with Flat Earth and how I do activism with Flat Earth, and they see me as that example, as a positive, but also look at me as a negative of what can happen if you don't do your due diligence with a situation or a person or even flat Earth. I mean, we all thought that we lived on a painting 5 years ago. Never thought to question, did you? Until flat Earth came out, and now you all know that you don't live on a painting anymore. So I do see how this has become kind of an example of looking into things a little bit more further and stop taking things at face value and taking responsibility.
Yeah, it's kind of sad that we would even have to consider that these days, but I guess it's kind of what we're heading to. So you had this relationship going with her, and you said it was for about 6 months. So how did this all?
No, 6 weeks.
Oh, 6 weeks. Okay, I'm sorry, my bad. 6 weeks.
You're fine.
How did it come out? How did you find out that she was underage?
Yeah, so I have great difficulty presenting my cystic fibrosis with females. I can't have kids naturally. I don't even know if I can have children using artificial insemination, and that's $10,000 or $15,000, and that's not covered. Cystic fibrosis isn't the first thing that I talk about on a first date. And I'm sure for a lot of people out there, flat Earth isn't the first thing that they would talk about to a guy or a girl that they're interested in, because it's, you know, it's a touchy subject. And how far into the relationship do I withhold my cystic fibrosis has always been a juggling match for me. I feel some are more able to handle it than others, but really if you're 30 or 35 years old and you're a female, you probably want to have or have had kids by then. And I can't provide that. So all the way into the very end of this relationship was about 6 weeks. It was on my birthday on May 2nd is when I ended up telling her that I had cystic fibrosis, and I showed her like the VEST treatment and everything and all of the, you know, health management that has to go along with that. Like, I have to be consciously aware of my CF all the time.
Right.
So I need somebody that is consciously aware of that all the time also. So I showed her, and I told her on my birthday on May 2nd. I was felt like, well, what other date to show her than my birthday? And she was very quiet. She didn't talk the rest of the time after I was done doing my VEST treatment when I brought her home to her house. And it was kind of that feeling, you know, like that feeling like, oh, yes, this is really great until you said that. And then the next day I didn't hear anything from her, and I messaged her and I didn't hear anything. And then she messaged me back and just said, hey, you know, this just isn't going to work out. You know, good luck to you, type of thing, you know. And I don't know, like, I am the type of guy to like try to give it one more good push, I guess. And maybe that's my own, it is now. I've learned a lot from this. But it was one of those things where I just wanted to like give it one more effort, give it one more try type of thing. And maybe like we could compromise or something like that. So I decided to send her flowers. And I sent her flowers like a couple days afterwards, and I wrote some, you know, soppy, you know, guy thing that he would put on the card. And I got an email notification from the flower company that she had received the flowers.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, well, here we go. And a couple hours after she had received the flowers, I received a phone call from the flower company saying, the mother of the daughter you sent flowers to is wondering why you sent her daughter, her 14-year-old daughter, flowers. And I was absolutely speechless. I didn't know what to say. Like, I was angry. I was angry. I had so many different feelings at the time, but I didn't want to give them my information. They asked for some of my information, and I said I don't have to, and I don't want to. And then the conversation was over, and then we were done. I immediately messaged her and I said, "How old are you? What's going on? And are you 14?" And she says, "Yeah, I'm 14." And I said, "How could you lie to me? I can't ever talk to you again. Goodbye."
Wow.
And I have never talked to her again. Well, I'll, we'll go from there. But from that point, I have never talked to her again. And from May of 2016 until December 1st of 2016, so that, 5.5, 6 months or whatever, I just continued to do my thing. Like, I continued to go to work and, get into flat earth more and try to absorb more information and, always having that in the back of my mind of like, I don't ever want to date again. I don't ever want to talk to anybody again.
Right. I can understand that. Gosh. So then, that seems like a long period of time. So how did it lead up to an arrest then? If that was, so what, like 5 or 6 months passed before that happened?
Yeah. Yep. And I guess that was the process of their investigation or whatever they felt like they needed to charge me with. Maybe her mom pursued something. Then if once you notify the state, then the state takes over. So even if you
Right.
say, hey, I'm letting the state know that something happened, but then just leave it alone. Well, the state's not going to do that. They're going to pursue it and then they're going to investigate.
Right.
And so obviously the state decided to arrest me because they had something that they wanted to charge me with. And at first, when I first initially went to court and I had my first initial conversation with the prosecutor for the state, they gave me a plea. And I absolutely refused that plea because I didn't go into this dating relationship with an intent to be with a minor of any age, of any kind.
So what did they wanted you to basically plead guilty to something, I guess?
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I can't even remember what they offered me.
Okay.
It was garbage, and it wasn't anything that I felt was reasonable considering the situation. I was not going to plead guilty for something I didn't go into.
Right, because you were lied to, you were deceived. So it's not like you purposely went and pursued someone that you knew was underage. You were under the impression that she was of legal age the whole time.
The whole time. The whole time. I had screenshots from 2 different profiles to say that. And
Right.
it never crossed my mind to think otherwise.
Okay, so seeing some of the other questions here. Did you ever meet any of her friends? You never saw her driving a car?
No.
Oh, excuse my dog.
No, it never crossed my mind. Sorry, I forgot to send this to somebody. No, it never crossed my mind to look into it further.
Okay, so you get arrested and they try to make you agree to a plea, and then you don't agree to a plea. And I know that typically what happens if you don't agree to a plea, well, then the case goes to court, right?
Right.
You have to basically go through.
That's exactly where I wanted it to go. I wanted to go to court.
Right.
I wanted to be judged by 12 peers. I wanted that.
Understandable.
I was not afraid to go to court. So anybody who thinks like I'm like trying to hide and trying to duck my head because I'm so scared of what they're going to do to me in court, absolutely not. There is not one time ever that when I was arrested and I was in jail, that I was afraid by any of the inmates. Not even in the slightest. I even had a cop, a guy, what are they called in jail? A CO. I had him offer me a website to go to when I got out, to go try to find a girlfriend or whatever. He said, I found my girlfriend on this website. You should check it out when you're out of here.
Yeah, typically when people like that,
It's
they're
good for
around a
morale.
lot of bad characters, and they usually can tell when somebody is who's there, isn't a malicious person. I mean, you certainly don't seem malicious to me, so. Okay, so you're in court, and did this girl have to show up in court too? Was she there?
Oh yeah, so she had her, day, um, and her mom also took the stand because I wanted her mom to come on to the stand. And one of the things that was revealed when we were in court is that this person was doing this in Chicago a year prior before they moved to Minnesota. So when she was 13, okay, she was doing the exact same thing in Chicago. She was creating fake profiles on online dating websites, okay, and she was doing the exact same thing. And recently, at that time, another man had come under the same net that she had cast. In
So
Chicago.
so you weren't the only one that this was going on with between her and, right?
No, this was not, and her mother knew about this, and the state never stepped in to take her daughter away from her. She was still able to go on social media. She had her own cell phone. She could basically still do whatever she wanted to here in Minnesota, as she was able to do a year prior in Chicago. Unfortunately, there is a law that is out, and you can look this up yourself. It's called Rape Shield Law. And what that means is a person's prior relationship involvement, obviously in the sexual aspect, is unable to be presented to court for protection of the victim. This victim, quote, was a minor. So because of that, the prosecutor and the judge would not allow it to be shared to the jury that she was doing this in Chicago also.
I see. So so that was considered separate from your case, which under legal terms, it means that the jury would not be allowed to take that into consideration. That has to be ignored.
Right. It wasn't even allowed to be brought up. Like it was something that my attorney pressed very hard to do because it was a game changer. To show that she was doing this before me reveals that there's consistency with this, that she has the predator aspect and character. So whatever anybody wants to think about me, there's also there's facts.
Right.
So there's facts with this.
Right. So what did she say in court about her lying about her age? Did she admit to doing that? Did she admit to deceiving you?
Yes.
Okay.
It wasn't anything that I didn't sense it was anything that she was too concerned about.
Probably not. It sounds like she wasn't really concerned about much, except for doing whatever she wanted to do.
Right.
Did she ever apologize to you or to the court for what she did?
No.
Why
apologize when you don't feel like you did anything wrong?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And that would just admit guilt.
Right.
Like, hey, I did something wrong. I'll never do it again. I'll repent. I'll just go from here and I'll just do 180 degree and I won't ever do it again. Well, if that was the case, I wouldn't even be talking to you right now.
Right. Did the mother or her parents apologize or take ownership of their daughter's actions?
No.
No. So her mother.
Her mom knew. Her mom knew in Chicago that she was doing this.
Knew and didn't do anything to stop it.
Didn't do anything and allowed her to have a cell phone here in Minnesota, and she didn't do anything about it. So I don't know what the purpose or the point of it is. I don't know, like, motives, money. Like, hey, I have no money. So anybody who thinks like I'm doing flat earth and I'm making money I am breaking even every month, and I have no idea where my rent comes from every month. I am being honest with you. So if she thought that she was going to get money out of me, having her daughter continue to do this with this idea that she's doing it, like, but she's not really like focusing on it until it becomes a problem and you're in court, then it's not anything that I felt like she was. I don't know why would you allow your daughter to do this again and again?
No, never in a million years. Never. But I monitor my children very closely. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I look at what they're doing and what they're looking at, and I keep a close eye on that stuff because that's my job.
Right. That's what a parent does. That's what I thought a parent would do. Yeah. And it's like, fool me once. Hey, you snuck that by me. Sneaky you. I guess I need to put more tabs on social media, or take your phone away, or I don't know. I'm not a parent, so I don't even know what kind of avenues you would go to. But I didn't think that this was a market, and I come to find out that this is a market. There are hundreds of thousands of underage boys and females putting themselves online, seeking out relationships with older people.
That's scary.
I can't tell you how I was shocked by when I first started to meet with my counselor and obviously my PO, and they said, this is so sad, but you're not obviously the first one. This happens all the time, where men and women know that they look older and they take advantage of that. I mean, I knew people when I was 13, 14, 15 years old that had fake IDs, and they were going to clubs downtown Minneapolis.
Yeah, I knew people like that too.
Going into clubs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And drinking.
I saw that happening as well. Yeah.
So to say, like, I get where you're coming from. Those who say, how could you have not known? I get where you're coming from. I get it. I really do. I get it now. Like flat earth and this and all these other things that just kind of all added up to where I'm at now. I get it now. Believe me, trust me. By my actions, I know the level of deception that's out there.
Yeah. And, everybody is familiar with all the stuff that goes on as far as like the media and the over-sexualization of children, and like how this sort of thing has been slowly fostered over time to start happening in society. I mean, we don't have to get into all that, but I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody's aware of what goes on. I mean, we see it, we all see it, especially, people like us that look into all this stuff and what is breaking down, the family unit, society in general, the morality that we used to have, which is not so much anymore, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ace McLeod made a comment. That's why celibacy is the best policy. I am on board, dude.
Yeah,
I'm so on board.
Yeah, really. I mean, that is something that. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Your life gets so complicated once you start, entering into these relationships, and these relationships become sexual in nature. It definitely complicates things.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
No moderating out there.
It's just, people want facts. People can lay on facts, but when it doesn't line up with their sensationalism, then they get upset because they don't have anybody to point fingers at anymore, because they want all the distraction, everything to be taken off of them and what they're doing, and let's all point at somebody else who's worse off than me. And that's just projecting. And he knows he's projecting. Thanks IPS for another month of Patreon. I have a screenshot of IPS donating to me on Patreon. So thanks a lot. Ever since I started doing activism, he's been donating to me, and he hasn't stopped. So
yeah, well, you do a good job with your activism, that's for sure. So you go to court, this girl admits to deceiving you, admits to lying. The mom knows about it. So then it comes time to make a verdict on your case. So then what happens then?
So 4 of the 12 jurors completely withheld their verdict. They would not charge me. I have been told by a couple of people recently that I have told about this. They said that I should have done some kind of jury nullification and handed out, pamphlets or something like that regarding jury nullification. Because what the prosecutor did on multiple occasions stated that I need to be charged with something, and regardless of my ignorance, it does not obfuscate what happened. And that is not true at all. I could have submitted some kind of a jury nullification. My ignorance does play a part in this whole situation, but I was not aware of that. And so what my attorney, the prosecuting attorney for the state, and the judge agreed upon for the jury was to pick one of 3 dates. And the judge said, you have to pick one of these 3 dates to convict him. And then they went back and deliberated for another 20, 30 minutes, and then they came out and they convicted me of 3rd-degree sexual offense on my birthday, May 2nd.
Okay, and so what was your punishment for that conviction?
So I had to do 4 months of house arrest, which was almost immediately. It started, so court was over in the middle of May, and it was July or August or something like that, because it bled into the middle of November. So like the middle of July is when my 4 months of probation started. And this is in 2017. I started doing activism for Flat Earth April of 2017, knowing that I'm going to court for this in May. And the 4 months that I was on probation and I was doing flat cab and all these episodes and stuff, I only had 4 hours a week of free time to leave my house. And I had to be back at my house within the 4 hours. Like I couldn't take 1 hour here one day and 1 hour there another day. I had to take a 4-hour lump sum one time per week. And I used all 4 hours every week to do activism.
Wow.
So all those episodes that you see late 2017, from July until middle of November, that's me doing activism while I'm on house arrest.
Wow.
So just a heads up.
Wow. That's dedication, man. For real. So you do that and you serve your house arrest, and then you have a probation period after the fact, right?
Yeah.
Where you have to check in with a probation officer every so often.
Yep. So I see her once a month, and I have probation now until 2022. And I have to register for the next 10 years. My charge has a felony with it, which means that the felony obviously is much different than robbing a bank. If I were to rob a bank and shoot all the tellers in the leg, this happened 5 years ago, and then I get released from prison and somebody sees that I have a felony charge for attempted robbery of a bank, that would be better for society's idea than my felony charge. So that's where we have progressed right now. And that felony charge will be dropped and reduced down to a misdemeanor once I finish up my court-ordered therapy. So again, I just want to reiterate that the state is dropping the felony charge and dropping it down to a misdemeanor when my probation's up.
That's good. And when is that? When's your probation up?
So that'll be up 2022. And once my therapy and stuff is done next year around this time, I can start to submit paperwork to try to get that, kind of expedited.
Gosh, that's a long time to be on probation. That's a lot.
Yeah. Well, it is, but it's also like one of those things where, the state charges you with something because they feel like they have to satisfy society or the people or something like that. You know, so if the people feel that I'm not a threat, like the state, then they're not going to grind me through the wine press very much, because the state sees the facts and they judge by the facts. People in the chat, however, see the facts and they're mainstream. They just focus on the one thing, you know, pedophile.
Yeah.
And a 14-year-old is not a prepubescent child. So
Right.
there is a clear distinction between a 14 and 15-year-old that's ovulating and can bear children to a child that is prepubescent. And that's not me. That has never been me. I have never pursued any ideas or any thoughts like that. So anybody who wants to judge me in that regard, may God have mercy on your soul.
Right. I'm sure everybody's got, you know, something that has happened in their past that they'd rather not become public. You know, that's, nobody's perfect. So now that all this has passed, has this girl ever tried to contact you again?
So something incredibly bizarre happened in April of this year. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to share a news article that everyone can look up. That is my sister, Stephanie Johedren. My sister was kidnapped by her husband the morning of April 15th, or the morning of April 11th of this year. Sorry, I was looking at the date today. And this was the same morning that her husband was up to go to trial for previously abusing her. So that same morning he was supposed to go to trial. He was under probation and he physically assaulted my sister, and he was looking to go to court and probably spend 18 months or more in jail, in prison, because he had beat her up again. So instead of going to court and just like dealing with everything, he decides to kidnap her that morning. I had no idea. I didn't know that any of this was going on until the next day when a friend messaged me and told me about it. She's like, "Hey, did you hear about your sister?" And I'm like, "What?" So on April 11th, my sister is getting kidnapped in the morning. I also received this text message here. I received a text message. Bear with me. This has to do with Karen's question on whether or not she has tried to contact me. At some point it'll load up. It says I'm offline. I'm not offline. My goodness. Okay. Okay, so mind you, again, it's April 11th in the morning. I'm getting ready to go to work. I'm doing my thing, right? And I get this text message saying, "Don't you want to talk about what happened?" And it came from an area code. My dad and his family live up in the 320 area code area, and that's about 2.5 hours, you know, probably an hour north of Minneapolis. And I can only think of one person that this is referring to. Don't you think we need to talk about what happened? So I'm already thinking that this is her texting me. I cannot get into a conversation with her because my phone is monitored. So I immediately take a screenshot of this conversation, and I email my PO, and I call her, and I say, hey, I got this message from a phone number that I don't recognize, and I think it's her. How can we find out whether it's her or not? Because I have to be in complete communication with my PO.
Right.
With this, I'm not going to sit here and hide and be like, oh, I wonder if it's her. Does she still love me, or I'm still in love with her? And no, that's not how this is. So anybody who thinks that needs to get that out of their head. I am taking care of this. So we talk, and she gets her number, and she calls this phone number to find out who answers. And a female answers, and she said, my PO says, hey, I got this phone call from this number, but then they hung up right away. I was just wondering who this is. And then they hung up. They call back my PO answers, and then they hung up. So my PO calls me and says, well, a female answered, that's all we can, go from. And I go, okay, well, I'll, respond with a generic. I mean, I don't know who this is. So think of, if you don't know who this person is, then you're going to message them with something in this regard. There isn't anything that we need to talk about. I don't know who you are. Please leave me alone. So I felt like that was a reasonable response to this person I don't know.
Right.
And they responded with, well, if this is Josh, there's a lot we need to talk about. It's in her name.
So then after you reply then that person reveals themselves to be
her.
That girl.
Yes. So what do you... She's a victim. I thought she was a victim.
Right.
I thought she was innocent. Huh? You know who I'm talking to. I thought she was innocent. Anybody out there? I thought she was innocent, though. Why is she texting me? Why does she want... What is there to talk about? There's nothing that we need to talk about. We're not getting together. If you're getting gang stalked, or you're getting harassed, or if this is even her, I don't know. And I can't take that chance, and I'm not going to take that chance.
Right. Do you feel like maybe this was a setup?
When I get this text message, I'm 3 years in the flat earth. I think just about anything can be a setup.
Right. It could be.
Especially toward me. So, yeah, I definitely think that this is a setup, because my sister, while I'm getting this text message, is getting kidnapped, and it's all over the local news. There's an Amber Alert for my sister going on at the same time I'm getting this text message. So yes, of course, I think this is a setup. But I can't prove it. I can't. What can I do? I can only make assumptions. One thing that I feel really upset about is my sister has yet to return any of my phone calls. She hasn't responded to me messaging her when this all happened. She felt it was best that she just be left alone. What does that mean? Like, you're my sister. You just got kidnapped, and you're not going to allow me to be a brother and like get involved and like find out if you're okay, or like let's sit down and have some coffee. It's been a month or two. Can we talk about this? No, I have yet to have any conversation with my sister.
Wow.
So I don't know what she's doing. I don't know if this was just absolute and utter pure serendipity and a coincidence, or who is all involved with this. But for my sister to be in the process of being kidnapped and this girl texting me is beyond normal. This place is so bizarre. I don't even know what to say.
Wow. So since then, how has this affected your daily life, as far as like jobs, what you'd have to do day to day, professionally, personally?
Well, it is difficult I tried to apply for like Uber Eats and whatnot, and my disorderly conduct for that guy throwing my phone in the lake was already on that, along with my charge for my SO. Unless people do like background checks, like restaurants don't really usually do background checks or anything like that. Most of the people that you go to a restaurant and that's your server, they most likely I'm not going to say most likely. They could have a criminal record and you wouldn't know about it, and neither would their employer. They could be doing drugs all the time. That's just how the restaurant business is, just that niche, just in general for that niche. Because I've been in restaurants for 10 years, and nobody talks about their past. Nobody exposes the skeletons in their closets or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's an avenue that I could probably get back into over the winter time, because doing activism over the winter time is tough.
Especially
finding,
with having cystic fibrosis too, right? That makes it harder.
Yeah, the last 2 years I've had some kind of ailment that's put me in the hospital for a month. So what's going to happen this next year? Am I going to get sick again, and it's going to be just too much that I can't take it? I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. But it has more so affected my opportunity to find a place to live. That has been the biggest hurdle for me to get over. That's why I did RV life. Remember, everybody, last year I started doing RV life?
Wow.
That's why I was doing that, because I could not find a place to live other than trying to rent a room from somebody's house. And I put myself out there on social media networks looking for a roommate. I answer ads of people who are offering a room with confidence, going into that situation knowing that the first thing that I'm going to talk to them about is my SO charge. I'm not going to move into their house and try to hide and be sneaky and try to avoid the conversation. No, I step right in with my feet planted on the ground and I take it. And I encourage anybody to do that. Stop being so fearful. Stop being afraid. Stand firm with the storm and just deal with it. So I am at a place right now that I've been at for 3 months, and he's cool. I told him the first day that I was there. I also told him I was a flat earther too. And now when I walk down the stairs, I see a globe. I didn't notice it when I first got there, but when I started moving my stuff in, he moved a globe right in front of the staircase that I walked down into the basement.
He's trying to globe smack you.
Can you believe it? I'm not kidding. He put a globe right in front of it, so I'm not afraid of anything. I told him I was a flat earther. I told him about my charge, and he had me move in. And there you go. He met my PO. The police once every 6 months check up on me to see if I'm at the address that I say that I'm at.
Right.
But my PO, she comes in and does a walkthrough to make sure everything's safe. I feel safe. She's 100% behind me. So I'm not afraid.
To be clear, yeah, you're not afraid. You're open. You're complying with everything that the state's having you do. You
Yep.
do everything that is required of you as a result of this charge.
100%. I couldn't. If I was any more transparent, you wouldn't even see me right now.
Right. Right. So definitely, even though you weren't. You obviously clearly weren't, preying on people. You're still serving your time, serving your punishment, doing what's required of you, filing whatever it is you need to file, being upfront with everybody, 100% transparency here. So there's nothing to hide. Absolutely nothing to hide
Absolutely
as far as this thing goes.
Absolutely nothing. I enjoy my life considering. I will not let this hold me back. I will not let this stop me. I can see how our creator was lining me up for something like this, for going out in public and talking to people about this, because I hope that this helps people out there comprehend the empathy that I have for these people when I go out there, knowing that they are being led astray and being withheld information. And all I can do is try to, with all my heart, convey evidence to show that we're being misled and not given the full story.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's so ironic for me to be out there doing this now. And I have no fear of anybody coming up to me and beating me up because of my SO charge, or like, why are you out here in public? Like, do I not have a right to be out in public? Do I not have a right to go to the grocery store?
Are you receiving any threats, or you're not receiving any threats like that? Emails, texts, voicemails?
I'm receiving emails from IPS telling me to delete my channel, and that's it. No one has gone out of their way to email me and tell me that I'm a horrible person and I need to drink bleach, other than people like IPS and those who go along with his narrative.
Yeah,
And
stuff like that too.
if you continue to go along with his narrative, and you think I'm still an evil person after all this, and I'm a predator, that's your choice, you know. But this is what it means to bring out the facts, have me communicate this to everybody, because I'm not going to stop. This is not going to stop. I will not stop. Everyone will know the earth is flat, and we will discuss this whole flat earth, globe earth stuff sometime in the future. But I want to be on the front lines, letting people know about this. And I have no fear. Again, we should not have any fear about our past, or, oh, if somebody finds out about me, then it's all going to be out there, so I might as well just not say anything. That's the enemy telling you to do that. You know, we all have skeletons in our closet. We all would be so afraid to have our whole life story projected out on Netflix. You know, so the only fear that I have is not going out and being idle and sitting in my house and and acting like a victim.
Right.
That's the only fear I have, is not doing anything when I know what is right.
Right. You just want to make good use of the time you have here.
Right.
Choose to do it. Right.
Yeah, right. I mean, I've been told my whole life through mainstream science, medical science, that I'm supposed to be dead. Look up cystic fibrosis. Look up the life expectancy. It's 38 to 42. Well, guess what? That's how it's been my whole life. My whole life, it's always told me that I was going to die within the next couple of years. So why even try? That's why I never went to school. You know, that's why I'm not married right now with children. Because I had to fight incredible amount of negative thoughts, suicidal thoughts back in 2004, 2005, suicidal thoughts. You know, so it has been a journey, but, you know, now I'm here where I'm at now. So.
Okay. So, do you want to bring your friend in that's with you at this point? Because, what's her name?
Patty.
Hi.
Hi, Patty.
I can't.
They can hear through this. Yeah. Can you hear okay?
Yeah, we can hear her.
Oh yeah, you gotta probably hear her.
Yeah, I don't want to be delayed.
Patricia has done activism with me a couple of times, and there she is.
Hello.
Hi, Patricia.
Hi.
So do you want to tell us, you know, basically your experience with Josh, what you think about Josh? Just, you know, give us, you know, let everybody know, as a friend of Josh, what he is to you.
I would love to clear the air about how I feel about Josh. I've been having to deal with a lot of the same trolls that he's been dealing with, just for defending our friendship pretty much. And we've been friends for about a year now. I just moved to Minnesota, and he's really the only person that I connect with here. Like you said, I've been out with him a few times doing activism. I have a 4-year-old daughter that has also been out with us, and I have no concerns about her being around him at all. She loves it. Like, she tells her teachers at school, Josh talks about flat earth. Like, she knows what he does, you know? And his character, you know, before he told me, he came out to me and my partner in life, and asked us, you know, if we wanted to continue a friendship with him, and we both agreed. You know, it's not about your past, it's what you're doing right now. Like, I see him as a good person. I believe in what he's doing, and I believe that outweighs any of these charges or any of these allegations that people are making about him. For sure.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that I am friends with, that I have a lot of respect for, have a lot of respect for Josh. They like to watch him do his thing in public. They like to watch him do his activism. And a lot of people that I know personally have told me that they've actually learned a lot about how to interact with the public from watching Josh and what he does.
Yeah, he does it best. I mean, I started watching him, and then when we moved up here, I reached out and let him know that I was in Minnesota. And he is the same in person that he is on YouTube. The same Joshua. You're not getting a different version. You're not getting an edited version. It's the same person.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So, well, I don't really know where to continue from here. I mean, I just hope that everybody can listen to you talk about this and hear your side of the story. I mean, you posted the link in the chat to the court summary, right?
Yeah,
from your case.
I'll post it again.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to, this is it's a 9-page summary of what happened at court. So this is the state. This isn't some crazy website that you're going to go to or anything like that. This is the Minnesota state courts. You know, come to your own conclusion. And while you come to your own conclusion, I'm going to go out and continue to do activism. I'm going to continue to live my life and go about my business because I know what I'm being led to do. And I know that this is where I'm at right now, and that might change in the future. You know, I don't know what's going to happen at this time next year. But as of right now, I wanted to make sure that I addressed all of the rumors and the questions that people had about, you know, people going into their live chats and spamming this, you know, article.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this kind of came about because, you know, I'm putting on an event here in Greenville, South Carolina with Just Jack Flat Earth, and we invited Josh to be a part of it, to be a speaker there, to come and join us and to interact with the public and be a part of it because we have a lot of respect for him and for what he does. And so then that is when I started receiving questions or messages via Facebook about, you know, do you, you know, is it, you know, why would you have a pedophile at your event, or why would you have a convicted sex offender at an event where children are going to be around? And so because that's going on, even though maybe a lot of people didn't know about your past or what was going on, we want to be 100% transparent in this. Josh wants to be 100% transparent. We want to clear the air. We want everybody to know, you know, the facts of what's going on, rather than, you know, get their information through the, you know, Chinese whispers, through the grapevine, where things can get distorted, blown out of proportion, twisted, that sort of thing. So that's why we're doing this stream. I could see people in the chat, they're like, wouldn't even know about this if it wasn't for this stream. And, you know, that's good. We would rather you hear about it this way than, you know, through some other avenue where somebody could sort of, you know, put a turn on it or, you know, make it seem something that it's not, you know, and, you know, as people who are, you know, consider themselves truthers, like Josh does, like I do myself, you know, this is part of that. It's part of that is being honest about what's going on and, you know, and putting that stuff forward and letting everybody know that we don't have anything to hide. You know, we aren't malicious people. Josh isn't a malicious person. All we want to do is spread truth, talk about Flat Earth, let everybody know about the deception that's going on. And this is just part of that. This is just to let everybody know that, you know, they're honest. You're an honest person. You're obviously an honest person. You're obviously putting yourself out there. I mean, obviously, look at this. I mean, not everybody has to go online and talk about something that they did, something that happened in their past that they aren't, you know, it may not be the best situation. Most people don't ever have to do that, you know, and I think that it's very respectable that you're willing to do that and to put yourself out there and to talk about it openly. So.
I appreciate the opportunity to share because I want, you know, we say like, oh, they're honest, they're transparent, but it's like, well, how transparent are you? Not you personally, Karen, but I'm just saying this to everybody out there. Like, do you just blabber everything on the first date, or blabber everything to people that you barely know and just be like, here I am, take me for what I am, and just kind of have this expectation for people to kind of just accept you. And it takes a lot. I mean, it didn't necessarily cross my mind that I needed to bring up my charge when I started to do activism. Like, it just didn't cross my mind to do that. I'm like, I need to do what's right, and I need to talk about flat Earth out in public and irritate this place because it irritated me. Like, how dare this place not protect me? Like, people say that I'm this predator, I'm a pedophile or whatever. Where's my protection? Now that it has been revealed that this person has, on multiple occasions, lied about their age online in a previous state, mind you, where's the authority at? Where was the state to protect me? Now, I understand, like, I'm going into pursuing a relationship, sure, but it never crossed my mind that this person would be lying about their age, though. Like, I was never given the opportunity to turn around and run. If anybody would have, like my sister or, my friend that I had at the time that I was living with would have said something like, hey, did you check her age? Did you ask her how old she was? Or anything like that? It just never crossed my mind. And I feel a bit disappointed by the state, and it seems like I'm using that to my advantage because I have a lot of distrust with the state and how they handled the situation in Chicago to allow it to happen here in Minnesota.
I'll tell you what I'm disappointed in. I'm disappointed in that girl's mother.
Yeah.
As a mom, what are you doing? Reel that girl in. My gosh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I prayed about her. When it was all said and done, and even now, I pray that she figures it out. I mean, whatever that is for her, that our Creator reveals to her the right way to live and what she has done in the past, and that she can move on from that, and where she goes from there, great. But here I am, where I'm at, having to present this information to everybody out there. And I really appreciate all you people out there watching, regardless of whether you agree or disagree. You're listening, you're able to formulate your own opinion about me and others who have gone into this situation. And at least you can have an understanding that the 13, 14, and 15-year-olds that are out there in our public education are not always honest, that they're just like you, that they will lie to take advantage, to make themselves out to be better than what they are, or make themselves appear or be something that they're not. And that's no different than a 40-year-old nowadays.
Yeah.
We all have the propensity to lie, but I can't encourage you enough out there to just hold back a little bit and not commit yourself to something and investigate it. Even if you don't see a purpose into looking into something further, just spend a couple more minutes into it, and it'll be worthwhile to do so. And you won't have to, be in a situation like myself. Hopefully it won't be as serious, but there's a lot of people who believe they live on a painting, and whatever that means in the future, that's a big deal. So
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know another transition other than like questions from the chat. I mean, if there's anything that you out there have to ask me, we're at like 1 hour and 15 minutes. So, maybe like 15 or 20 minutes or so. If you guys got questions.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions, go ahead and type it in the chat, and we'll address it. And while we wait for that delay to pass, I'll just say that, I respect you for doing this, Josh, and I'm glad that I was able to help you do it. And I also appreciate Patricia for coming on and sort of, being a sort of character witness for you and letting everybody know that she thinks you're a good person and she trusts you around her daughter, right? There's no issue there. This isn't, Josh is a good person. I think everybody, who has seen your work and sees what you do should know that. I mean, they should know that. And I look forward to you coming and being at Flatoberfest and talking with people. And I think, a lot of people are happy that you're going to be there, and I am too. So let's see.
I am too. I can't wait. I can't wait. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be October in Minnesota, so you can imagine. Let me see.
Never take a piss in public. You could catch a charge. That's true. You can get a sexual offense charge for peeing in public. I mean, that's just how it is. You could end up in the same place that Josh is because you peed on a street corner. I mean,
Yeah, I heard, a statistic for whatever, take it for what it's worth, but 1/3 of men in the workplace refuse to be alone with a woman behind closed doors to do any meeting, to do anything. Why is that? So that's something to consider, that, a third of the men in the workplace refuse to be alone with a woman nowadays.
Yeah. Globebusters in chat says authentic intent. I just want to say that I have an enormous amount of respect for you, and this year I promise to watch your presentation.
Thanks, Bob. I appreciate that.
Bob will be there too, right?
That's cool. Steve, is Patty converted? Yeah, she's been a flat earther. That's why we're friends, and that's why we hang out. She's not my girlfriend.
No,
She's just a good friend. She's my new sister until my other sister figures it out, wakes up. So, did I take the stand? No, I did not. It was highly advised by my prosecutor, or by my attorney, that I do not take the stand, and that I do not. I didn't. I guess he didn't feel it necessary because there wasn't anything that I could do to change the obvious. I guess there was so much evidence to show that she was doing this in Chicago, that she was already putting herself out there to do this,
Mm-hmm.
and that from the evidence, showed that I did not know that she was a minor until I sent her flowers. My sister, when she got kidnapped, she was found later that day, and everything is okay with her. So on April 11th, when she was kidnapped by her husband, she was found safely, and everything was okay with that.
I'm seeing a lot of support from people in the chat for you, so that's good.
I really appreciate it, everybody. What are you looking forward to in your future? Destroying scientism. Absolutely obliterating this reality and changing the world and finding new land that is rightfully ours. Hey, David. I've met David Romero in the chat. He kind of did like a kind of an angle to come and visit me. And he visited me with his girlfriend from California. And I told them when they were here. I told them my charge. Chris Klein, I told them also. We did a video chat a couple of months ago. I told them also. I am 100% open book. Some people in my past have said I'm too open, that I've shared too much information. But that's just the type of person I am.
I don't know. You can't really go wrong being honest,
Yeah. Yeah. I just really appreciate all the support that I've gotten, whether it be financially or text messages, comments, people calling me. Ever since I started my YouTube channel, I shared my Facebook page, and if you wanted to go through the Facebook, you can message me, and we can talk, and then I can give you my phone number.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing about me that I've tried to hide or feel, so shameful about my choices in my past that I can't talk about them. Do I regret them? Yeah, of course I do. Like, if I could change this particular situation, of course I would change it.
Yeah.
But would that make me who I am now? Obviously not, So like, we need to take the bad with the good, and unfortunately, it seems like this place, you learn a lot more from the bad. So, um, any plans for the upcoming cold season? Well, um, I have to try to figure out how to get another job. The dog walking bit just probably isn't going to be anything that I'm going to be able to hang my hat on and walk dogs. I only walk 2 dogs. I only make $90 a week. I don't make any money. All of the money that I make from Patreon, donations, and the 2 dogs that I walk a week, I'm breaking even. So there's that. So to get back into the workforce and like feel like I have to be a contributing taxpayer would be incredibly difficult for me to do. And so what I have kind of been contemplating and just really trying to think about is applying for Social Security disability over the winter time. Something that I can do because I'm kind of grandfathered in through my disability with cystic fibrosis.
Mm-hmm.
And I can try to apply for that and do that over the winter time so I won't have to worry too much about, income, and at least I can pay my rent. That's all I need to do is just pay my rent, $550 a month. Anything after that, I roll from there. But I need to obviously not live in an RV over the winter time.
Right.
So I appreciate everybody at the time, supporting me, but then it's like, okay, it's going to be November in Minnesota and you're going to be in an RV. Good luck, so so yeah, that's kind of, what I'm looking into. I don't have any massive plans of doing a lot of activism over the winter time, but I would like to maybe do some live streams like this every once in a while, because I can't tell you how many notes I have and how much information and ideas that I have that I'd love to share and just put those thoughts out there and see if other people are thinking the same way. Other than that, I'm just a regular guy. I'm not anybody better than anybody else. I just have a passion and drive to do the right thing and to help others realize what the right thing is. And it seems like the right thing is a lot of the stuff that we used to do as a human race many decades ago. And it seems like us as human beings are starting to lose our way. So good to see everybody. I wish John, Marisol, who's Karen B?
I'm Karen B. It says Karen B right there.
Who are you? When did you get into this? Jake, you live in your car. Well, I hope things pick up for you. Other than if that's where you want to be at right now, but I'll be praying for you. Yeah, we might be winding down here.
Yeah, I think we've covered everything. I don't see too many other questions coming through.
The Bigfoot whisperer.
Yeah, that's me.
Well, I really appreciate, again, Patty, for hanging out tonight, and for you, Karen, for just helping this along and getting this out there, because there were, a lot of people that were coming to me personally and kind of saying, well, do you think it'd be a good idea to share this and whatever? And I didn't want to do it alone, so I'm really glad that, I was able to, we were able to do this. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm happy to help and look forward to seeing you October, and look forward to seeing you do more activism because you're really good at it.
Thanks a lot. We have talents. We all have talents, and there is a story out there that, people are given a certain amount of talents, and some feel it best to kind of hide their talent and put it, in the backyard and only use it think that they're investing it into something, and then that they can somehow, get that investment back when they die. But we all have a gift. We all have ways that we can communicate truth to others, even if it's within our own friends and family circle, and use that, use that to your advantage. Use whatever gifts that you have, whether it be website design or, you know, whatever, and use it to the advantage of Flat Earth to continue to perpetuate this idea, to get people to question and give them an opportunity. Like I had shared a quote a couple of weeks ago on one of my videos that said, I didn't have anybody out on the street screaming to me to check this person's age. You know, nobody presented that. It never crossed my mind. And for a lot of these people that you see walking by on these videos, it never crosses their mind. Like, why would they ever think to question their reality? And this is a really good opportunity for us to do it. And I'm just blessed to have the time and the gifts to do so and to communicate this message in a way that's both educational and fun. So,
Excellent.
yeah, so, well, thanks a lot, everybody in the chat. Flattoberfest, October 20th, Greenville, South Carolina. Rob Steva, Mark Sargent, Glowbusters, myself, OBL, Twin Serpent.
That's right.
Hosted by Just Jack and Karen B.
That's right. Flattoberfest.com. And if you're in the area, come down, come talk to us, come meet Josh.
Yeah, come here. Come on and, you know, let's have a chat. You know, let's be adults about this. It's already passed. The state feels they're resolved with this situation. They're just waiting for me to go on with my life and continue what I was doing before, which was not pursuing relationships with minors, for crying out loud.
Right.
And just moving past this and, you know, just being myself. So.
All right. Yeah. Keep on keeping on, man. That's what we're all trying to do here.
Exactly. Right. So thanks everybody again in the chat. This was live, and look forward to some new videos from myself on this channel, Authentic Intent, street activism with Lois. We still have a couple more months to go. Plenty of football and University of Minnesota videos to be had. So be prepared for that, folks. Thanks a lot so much for your time tonight, Karen B, and everyone in the chat. God bless.
Have a good night.
Right.